Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is, of course, Perspectives, the home edition, and it's really nice to have you in again as we get together and visit with folks from around our area. This show is being taped on Thursday, December 17th, but it will air right after Christmas. So that means that Christmas and Hanukkah and all the celebrations are kind of now at a lull. And as you can see by the things I've got behind me, everybody's kind of going, whew. Our first guest today is somebody that I've admired for a long time and never had a chance to meet until today. His name is Dr. Robert Turner. He is the pastor of the Vernon AME Church. And Reverend, it's good to have you here, my friend.
So great to be here with you, Sam.
I've got to kind of set the stage because I want folks to know about the good that you and your parishioners are doing, and you're doing very quietly. And I want to find out more about that too. But you're actually practicing what you preach, aren't you?
I try to. Yes, sir.
Tell us about it.
Once COVID-19 hit America, hit the world, it devastated our community and our church family. And we typically, before COVID, would always feed during our Bible study. And when COVID hit, we had to start counseling in-person Bible study. But I had an uneasy feeling about that, primarily because of the food. And so one night when I went to sleep on one Monday night, I think it was March the 15th, March 16th, and God woke me up out of my sleep and he told me to still feed his people. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, feed them at the church on Wednesday. And so the next day I got up on that Tuesday and I called my church treasurer and said, hey, his name is Brother Freeman. I said, can we afford to feed on Wednesday? I said, God still wants us to feed. And he said, how many you're talking about? Because that previous Sunday, we hardly had anybody in church. So in our church, when members don't show up, they don't pay. So they don't pay via online. They don't pay by check. They pay in person. This was before we had really a big online giving platform. And he said, we can do about 50. And so we did it on Wednesday, March 18th. We did it. And we ran out of food in 30 minutes. The need was just that great. Mm-hmm. And then on my way leaving the church, I take a right to go to my house. But instead of taking a right, this Wednesday, God told me, take a left. I was like, take a left. I said, okay, well, I took a left. And as I was driving down the street, I saw an individual, a friend of mine. The closer I got, I realized I knew him. He was in the middle of the road giving out plates. And I said, hey, man, what are you doing? He owns a restaurant. He said, hey, Pastor Turner, we are here trying to, help out during COVID. And we are giving out plates. And I said, how is that going for you? He said, it's going okay. We just wish we had a place where we can give the food to, because people don't feel comfortable coming to a restaurant. And I was like, I'm your guy. And so he started bringing food. Then I met with another good friend of mine, Taylor Hanson, with Food on the Move. He started bringing food. Then we found out that the Kaiser Family Foundation gave a grant to RNG Groceries. So we started going to RNG Groceries to get food. And we give out those groceries every week. We're giving them out today, matter of fact. And so since March 18th, our church doors, our Faith Hall, has been open every day during COVID-19 shelter in place. Every day. I mean, that's including the 4th of July. That's including Thanksgiving. That's including, we'll be there on Christmas, right? And because this problem of poverty in our country is very is endemic and is pervasive, and it's only been exacerbated by COVID-19. And miraculously, none of our volunteers who are working on this, what we call now God Provides Food Ministry, has contracted COVID. Not a single one. Not a single. And so far to date, we've given out over 235 plus thousand meals.
Man,
And this is a
man.
small church, right? We're not one of these mega churches at all. We membership of 135 members. Um, 85% of which all of our members are over the age of 65. 90% of my volunteers are over the age of 65. The same generation that got us through, the worst moments in American history, pretty much. This baby boomer generation, I just think the world of, because they have every reason to sit down, but they're the main ones at the church every day, volunteering. And just really my heart goes out to all of them on a daily basis.
Well, I have to tell you, I have seen firsthand, up close and personal, what you do. I've been there, and I'm a member of Boston Avenue Methodist Church,
Yes,
and our class has been a supporter of yours.
big
And my
time.
wife and I have driven down a time or two to bring sacks, which it may not sound like much, but you and I both know that paper sacks can go a long way toward helping in the distribution of food.
Big time.
And we found out early about that. And by golly, we started saving ours, and we're encouraging others to do the same. But while I was there, I was impressed with a couple of things. One, the way the men and women outside your door waiting for distribution of meals to begin were behaving, how they acted. And there was a bond, an instant click when we walked up, and we were able to chat with some of them. Then we went inside with the bags, and your parishioners were just, I mean, super friendly folk, and reminded me so much of the church I attended and my wife attended when we were very young, back before you were born, I might add, Reverend. That goes back a
Are
few
you a
years.
baby boomer?
Pardon me?
Are you a baby boomer? Are you a baby
I'm a
boomer?
baby boomer, I'm afraid.
Wow.
1943,
Get
but
out
I
of here.
survived all that. Uh, anyway, I've just been very impressed with what you've managed to organize. And I know you came from the whole idea, the whole concept from eager, uh, I mean, very meager beginnings, but sometimes, as they say, the Lord works in mysterious ways, do he not?
Yes, yes, he does. We have really seen the grace of God throughout this entire process. Our church financially cannot afford to do this ministry, but every day, every week, God sends somebody to bless us. We've done this work without, for the majority of the time, without any grant. We got our first grant last week. We've been doing this since March 18th, and we just got our first grant from the Cherokee Nation of $5,000 last week, and but we've been surviving off of in-kind donations. People like yourself coming and volunteer, and we thank God. Boston Avenue has been one of the best allies in ministry that I could ask for. Your pastor, David Wiggs, is a personal friend of mine that I can count on. He's been a supporter and an ally and just a trusted confidant since my family and I arrived here in Tulsa. So it's really, I mean, we had every reason in the world not to do this food ministry. Like, our membership is old. We don't have any money. It's COVID, by the way, and and our building. We're going through a capital campaign right now because our building is falling in. We have every reason not to do it, but God, provides, and He does it every day. And so, absolutely, this defies all logic. We had every reason not to do it, and only one reason to do it, which is because God said so.
Well, it speaks directly to the kind of man you are and to the kind of folks that are members of your church. I've never seen such spirit uh, as alive as those folks were when we walked in the door. Incredible. And by the way, you're involved too, I believe, in the efforts to locate remains from the massacre, are you not?
Yes, sir, I am. I sit on the mass grave public excavation oversight committee. I was the pastor who attended a community meeting that the mayor had back in 2018 and first raised the question with him. And in his reply, it became the first time a sitting mayor of Tulsa ever came out in support of doing the excavation of mass graves. And every day during the excavation, Sam, God would lead me by the Holy Spirit to go out and pray at the site where they were doing the survey and then later on the excavation.
Well, I've been very much impressed at the professionalism, if you will, behind the search. Uh, this hadn't been a bunch of guys with shovels out there digging holes. These men and women are using scientific methods, and I do believe when the dust settles, we're going to have some results.
Yes, I agree. There are some hardworking professionals who go out and take time away from their own families to do something that's really never been done before. And you're absolutely right. They are the best, and I mean, they're the best in their profession.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that they're willing to work with us on this project.
When do they start back working again?
We actually, believe it or not, we have a meeting, I believe, in a few days. If not today, I got to look at my calendar to talk about the next steps on when we will start back doing the survey. And now we're doing the exhumation of the bodies that we did find in Oakland. But there are so many other places in the city of Tulsa. And one of the things I must say to your audience, if you or your family member know anything about where bodies could have been dumped or buried during the 1921 race massacre, please let us know, because we are only as good as the information we receive.
And
And we just,
no
yes, sir.
rumor is too extreme, is it?
Yeah, no rumors too extreme. You'll be surprised the leads that we found that turned out to be plausible, right? And just because the people in the graves in the ground can't speak for themselves, we need other people who can speak to share their story, to share what you've heard your grandfather or great aunt talk about, and where these bodies could possibly be.
Well, Reverend, I want to thank you for taking time to visit with me today and with our station. It's always a pleasure to talk with somebody who's involved in the history of our area and at the same time who's making history, which is what you're doing through your church. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all you will do in the future. And we'd love to have you back again down the road. Could we do that?
Anytime, Sam. Anytime.
Okay, my friend. We will talk to you later. For now, enjoy Christmas and we'll see you. Well, like I said earlier, we're taping this on the 17th, so I will go ahead and wish you a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
We're going to take a short break, folks, and we'll be back with more right after this.